BTC tagging 91K here at the moment. Is this a trap now? Is it time to look for some shorts, guys? I'm going to give you some important BTC levels that you need to pay attention to, including some altcoin setups that are going to be some absolute bangers here. So let's go. Guys, and remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. And I mean, it's nice to see Bitcoin nice and green. Mr. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗏 has to be bullish here, or is he going to wear the red shirt now that we are at resistance?
Well, yeah, maybe time to put the red shirt on so we can open up some epic shorts after that pump, eh?
Okay, well, guys, let's go. Right now, what I'm seeing, before we jump into the stream, it's pretty important now that we are live. ETH at resistance, SOL at resistance, 𝗬𝗆 squeezing, but at resistance. So if you want to start hedging, now's a roundabout area you might want to start paying attention to. I'm obviously going to cover all of these charts for you guys during the stream. Okay, so we are at resistance on some things. We may squeeze higher. Let's see how this thing starts playing out. But I've jumped into a couple of hedge plays here. We've been absolutely printing today, and I don't want to give it back now. Okay, so overall, nice and green. I mean, nothing really to be said. The 𝗬𝗆 unlock is now done, and 𝗬𝗆 is squeezing. I wonder if Legend of E was shorting 𝗬𝗆 all afternoon. Hopefully, he's not too damaged here at the moment, but everything is looking good, guys. Anything you could have traded today, you could have literally longed whatever you wanted to. You would have made a little bit of money today. So that was obviously a good result. Let's take a look at where we are now on BTC. Look at this. We've dropped into, or pumped into, our 90 to 91K danger zone. Why is this a danger zone for me? Number one, I've got a 786 local pull. I've got a VWAP from the 10th of October highs. I've also got a beautiful horizontal cluster over here. Now, the only downside for the bears is that this 2 hour might have a little bit more energy left in it. And what does that mean? It might mean a little push higher, then some kind of divergence print, and then the big sell. Okay, so that is obviously something to watch. Now, on the lower time frame, this thing is heavily overextended. Let's take a look at the 1 hour and just see what they are giving us there. You can see we're printing our first heavily oversold signal now on our oscillator, and this is for me generally a time where you need to just start exercising a bit of caution. If you are feeling a little bit euphoric now, if things are feeling too good, you're sending pictures to your wife, you're sending pictures to your friends, you're in your groups now showing how much you are printing, this is generally a time, take something off, hedge some shorts, like just be thoughtful about this, because if we get a rejection now, you're going to be in a situation where you start giving up some gains and then you maybe start getting uncomfortable again. So just play it safe here. When we get to resistance zones, guys, what I always want you to do here in the Chart Hackers or in the Chart Hackers Discord is play these areas consistently. When you get to the big zones, just exercise caution. If we pop to the next level, all is well. You can also trade those breakouts and things like that. So just bank things along the way. But you can see my concern here with BTC. This 91K is a problem for me at the moment. Now, what happens if they push us a little bit higher? Jared, I love that, sir. What happens if they push us a little bit higher? This is going to be a problem for me. This is 93 into 94K. Here's your 0.5 fib. Here is your confluence as well from the highs. You can see these levels over here. So 93 to 94 is going to be the next danger zone. Okay, so you can see possible reversal here on BTC, and then 93, 94 looking like trouble on the lower time frame. Now, what do we do if Bitcoin falls over? You know, is that the end of the move? Do they send us back to zero? And this is always the trader's dilemma. Okay, what is the trader's dilemma? We get a beautiful pump, we get to resistance, and then sometimes we reject, and then we have to decide, like, is there going to be a bullish continuation? Are we going to add to longs? Are we going to look for new longs on a bullish dip? Or is this the end of the move, and do we short it to zero or whatever? So it's the standard play now. We've had a beautiful pump, and you guys need to decide, obviously, your bias. But right now, for me, the simplest play is always just create your local bull zone, and that is always going to be your first port of call. So right now, we've had a beautiful pump on BTC. It would make sense to me at some point, it might squeeze higher, but at some point to start dragging backwards a little bit, and then we're going to start looking at our local VWAPs. We're going to look at the 382 and the 0.5. So currently, as things stand, we are looking at 88,450 into 87,550. That is what we've got covered here in terms of our bullish support zone. Now, as the move goes higher, if Bitcoin keeps squeezing higher, your job is to simply just raise your fibs and track this thing all the way up and just build your local bull zone. Wherever you get the confluence with the fib and the VWAPs, that is what you're going to be doing. So just drag that higher along the way. But right now, you can see the picture Danger here for BTC at 91K, 88.4, 87.5. That is your current local bull zone, subject to change. Obviously, we can squeeze a little bit higher. Okay, so just protect yourselves, guys. And I see the Muscles has arrived. Yes, he is here. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, better late than never, sir. Okay, so Jay is in the house. He's going to bring us a couple of things. I hope he's got some absolute bangers. And Jay, we got tons to cover here, bro. We got silver, we got gold, we got this pump. Are we short?
Very
bro?
nice.
We
are short on gold, yeah, and I'm going to be looking for a long on gold from around 4,150, somewhere around there, just for a little move to the upside, bearish retest, and then short it again.
BTC, are we short BTC, bro?
Yes, I've just started a little short, yeah, on BTC now.
Okay, there we go, guys. So we're going to cover this stuff for you in detail. Let's just take a look at what is going on. So it's been an interesting one because I obviously love to hedge. So along the way, I start opening hedges at all these big resistance zones, and these generally deliver quite nicely when things do start falling over. So right now, let's just take a look at what is cooking here before we get into the news. And I also just want to manage my life a little bit. Okay, so we've had an absolute stinker on Solana. Look at this thing. This morning we traded that breakout in the Chart Hackers Discord. Panda was all over it. I was all over it. We got a 15-minute breakout there. I've printed $6,400 there on that Sol long, and I've just started a Sol short here again, looking for a little bit more downside. Then 𝗬𝗏𝗀, that's been a scalp play there for me. Then Hyperliquid is in the short zone. We've got a beautiful long, and now we are in the short zone. We got to decide, are we closing some of these things? Are we just going to ride this for a bullish continuation? ETH has been an absolute banger. That was a trade on the show yesterday. It was also a when entry trade for the Chart Hackers Discord that I gave directly after the show. This thing is now $6,450 up. This thing is cooking. BTC long, absolutely flying. We've just pinged $9,000 plus the 6,000 that we banked over there. And I've started my BTC short again, looking for a little bit of a reversal here. 𝗬𝗰, what a beautiful squeeze, Jay. I mean, we got to talk about this 𝗬𝗰 in detail here in a couple of minutes. And then Pump and Fartcoin was a little scalpy there to the upside, but nice to see a little bit of greenery in the market. And I'm definitely going to be managing my way out of some of these positions here. It's definitely time to start taking some profits, guys. Just note, if you're feeling euphoric, it is time to start exiting a couple of things. Now, let's talk about some lickies here. Let's see what is going down at the moment. James, I actually don't believe this. $380 million. Why is it so low? They just squeezed all the bears basically to Mars at the moment. Okay, so $380 million in lickies. It feels like a very weak day in the market. Obviously, less shorters than longers here at the moment. And just a reminder here how it started. We had Vanguard Chief. You will never see a Bitcoin fund from us. When was this? This was 2018. Okay, and then what's happening now? December 1st, Vanguard will now allow crypto ETFs on its platform. It's amazing how things can change with a little bit of pressure from everybody. And talking about pressure from everybody, who's feeling this now at the moment? Suddenly it's our Bitcoin again. Okay, but I mean, just the other day it was my Bitcoin making everything miserable, and now it's our Bitcoin because everything is now nice and rosy again. Who's feeling that at the moment? I'm definitely feeling that currently. So Federal Reserve officially ends QT. Now, this was obviously the big news, or one of the big news factors at the moment. And obviously, the market was waiting for this to officially end. Now, this is now closed out as of yesterday. And James, interesting to hear some of your thoughts here, but we can see immediately US banks, the Fed Reserve just pumped $13.5 billion into the US banking system. Take me through this bullish news.
This isn't bullish news, though. That's the thing. Everybody's like, they're pumping it in. This is the banks going to the lender of last resort, to the Fed, for overnight. They can't cover their withdrawals, so they go in for a high interest loan here overnight because they're in so much trouble. This is showing extreme stress on the banks.
So second largest liquidity injection since COVID. Okay, we know what happened in COVID, and even surpasses the peak of the dot-com bubble. That is when things were exploding, guys. Remember? Okay, so maybe it's a blow-off top type scenario, but there is energy here in terms of some of this stuff. So very interesting.
The thing that this means, though, is because the banks are in so much trouble, that money printer has to come on very soon. That's the good part of it. Right now, it's quite bad, but it means they've got to start pumping liquidity, and they finally can because they've stopped officially running off the balance sheet. So in the end, it ends up being bullish.
Kevin Hassett, is he the nominee now? What is going on? Trump's going to announce this? What's the story?
Trump speaks at 2 o'clock Eastern today, right? So that's what, less than 3 hours from now. And there's rumors flying that this is what he's coming to say. There was an announcement yesterday that he's going to be announcing this soon. I don't know if that's what's being announced here or not.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
I know another thing they've got coming out is this whole, they've started a new program in the States that every child born from now until 2028 is going to get this $1,000 investment in the S&P or whatever that's given to them. And that may be the announcement because they're having a cabinet meeting as we speak. So we'll see.
So guys, there's a couple of things. Sorry. I meant to take that off. Guys, okay, I'm losing you there. Guys, there's a couple of things we just need to think about here. This could be the market pumping on possible speculation that Trump's about to announce a certain somebody. And, what if he doesn't make that announcement, or what if he doesn't announce that guy? So again, we've pumped now into resistance zones. You just need to be cautious in those types of areas. Once again, okay, just remember where we are here at the moment. I lost you there for a second, James. You cut up.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that this is the rumor that this is what he comes out with today. We'll see if that's the announcement or not. But either way, I mean, the 𝗬𝗆 markets have him, I think, at 75%. He's pro crypto. He's pro low rates. So, and he's a Trump loyalist. So it just means they're going to cut rates like crazy.
Okay, so Adam says, this has been the worst altcoin cycle ever. Okay, stablecoin supply is at an all-time high, yet when you exclude BTC and stablecoins from the total crypto cap, we didn't even make it past the 21 highs. Okay, well, I think we can feel that anyway. We don't even need somebody to tell us this. And he says, this explains why CT, which is crypto Twitter, is so bearish. Without stable coins, we retraced past cycles. I think we know this. I mean, I think it's fair. Look at Popcat and Brett. I mean, that's all we actually need to know at the moment. You just check where your shit coins are. Now, the big news is obviously silver. And I mean, this might actually be the top for me. Okay, so I mean, we start hearing reports like this. And silver is now set to post its first 12-month candlestick with 100% plus gain since 1979. Okay, this doesn't happen in normal markets. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky for me. So I'm still holding this current silver long. You can see we are rolling over a little bit at the moment. And what I want to say is anyone that wants to play the game with me, you can see the last time we did get these reversal prints. Look at that. Silver did start reversing, and then we did get some kind of bullish bounce. So there is a possibility that silver reverses here and we get a bullish bounce. If we are going to get a bullish bounce, what does this mean? It means an add-on opportunity at 53.7 is what we're going to be looking for. So 53.7, that could be an opportunity to grow the size. So you can either now take profit on your silver trade, or you can say, I'm looking for this VWAP to hold. I'm looking for the horizontals to hold. And you can look at about 53.7 and start growing some size on that silver. Let's get Jay in here. And Jay, we're talking gold at the moment. This thing is an absolute banger. And this was a setup I was looking at yesterday on the 4 hour. And we were just looking to sweep those highs. So this thing's rolled over. Tell me, from a man that trades gold pretty much every day on lower time frames, what are you seeing now? Is this thing, I mean, are we looking at bigger moves to the upside? What is your current plan?
I do think that we will have a bigger move to the upside. I do think they'll take all-time high soon again. But there is a slightly lower move. I wouldn't mind them taking out some of the liquidity to the 4-1-40 zone there. It's the 886 fib. So we can see that there's actually a huge candle down. I know that you're on the 4 hour, but on the 1 hour, it's actually a really disgusting 1 hour candle to the downside, really aggressive sell. So yeah, I wouldn't mind if they have a small bounce back into the 0.5 fib, and then the continuation much further down, maybe to around that 4,000 zone. And then from there, we can go back up to an all-time high on gold.
Okay, so in terms of my gold, I mean, I'm going to carry on holding this short then for now. It is doing okay. And yeah, in terms of silver, guys, you can see that thing's doing all right. MicroStrategy, I've had a miraculous recovery. I've had like a $2,000 swing here on this thing at the moment. Is there going to be continuation on that? We're talking about that in a sec. And then Circle, obviously a play on the stablecoin narrative, stocks and things like that linked to crypto. So that thing is doing okay for me at the moment. Okay, so I'm longing these and shorting these on BTCC. And there is a link in the show description. If you guys want to play the game with me, stocks and gold and things like that, you can grab that link in the show description. Now, I keep trying to reset this CoinGlass thing telling us December is -3%. But James, we must be flat by now. I mean, we've had a full recovery here. So this is December -3. We'll check tomorrow once they actually reset themselves. Then we'll know exactly what's going on. S&P 500, if anybody wants to try something, 786, 6,835. could be a little shorty here, boys and girls. Could be something.
Yes.
And this could tie in with a Bitcoin rollover as well. So hopefully while I'm talking, I'm not getting absolutely rinsed here at the moment and I want to start adding to some of these shorts. So that is the play there. S&P, guys, if you want to have a crack here, you can also trade that on BTCC and your stop will be a close above 6860 is what you guys can do there if you're looking for a little scalp to the downside. Now, how's this, guys? MicroStrategy market cap is now worth 10 billion less than their Bitcoin holdings, and it puts the company's market cap, what are we at, 45 billion now at the moment. Okay, now there's something else interesting going on here with 𝗏𝗂𝗧𝗧. They've just bumped its perpetual preferred dividend to 10.75% during max FUD. So that should create some kind of buying pressure on MicroStrategy, and maybe that is going to be enough to ignite that little squeeze that I've been dreaming about. I literally wake up at 3 a.m. imagining a 40% squeeze on MicroStrategy. So hopefully, we're going to get it. So I'm holding strong at the moment. I just want to see it start breaking through some lower time frame levels, and then I'm going to start pressing again if we do get the opportunity. And I'm going to look for about 220, guys, 229 on MicroStrategy. I think it's a reasonable target if we get a squeeze on this thing. Now, you can see I have been covering this regularly, but on that 3-day, it's absolutely exhausted here. And a squeeze is starting to look like a possibility now on MicroStrategy for us. So anybody else in that trade, long and strong here, no changes there for me. And then Circle, guys, no changes here. I am looking for higher. Obviously, we'll play it by ear day by day. If things start looking miserable, we're going to cut some of that stuff. Now, 𝗏𝗏𝗄 says BTC is now only 19% above its electric cost. Bitcoin has dropped below this level only twice in the past 5 years, April 24 and March 2020. March 2020 was the COVID dump, and April 2024. So we are pretty close to those levels. Interesting that we haven't gone as deep as we could have at the moment. And obviously it's concerning for me that we haven't dipped down into these big levels. Like I wanted to see, for me, I wanted to see this level get tapped. And again, it might still be on the table for us. It's just a question of how are we going to get it. So in terms of Bitcoin on the 3-day, guys, you can see I've got 3 major rejection zones here in front of us. This is our 91.6. You can see that we rejected yesterday and we're fighting this area again. Then we've got 98,200 into 103K. I'm grouping this area together because it's the 50-day MA, the 50-week moving average from happiness, and the 382 as well as a 0.5. So that whole area for me is a major danger zone on the 3-day time frame. And then obviously the big upside, 109, 110. If we hit that, wow, and you've managed to hold along from 81K, well, then I sincerely hope you do take something off the table. That might be the horrific head and shoulders. Who knows what happens after that? Okay, so that is what we're looking out for. PMG George wants 𝗬𝗎 to dump. Bro, I don't want 𝗬𝗎 to dump. I mean, we need to urgently look at these things because, I mean, the action is happening here at the moment. Okay, let's talk USDT dominance, guys. You can see what we wanted. Now, yesterday, it's very important. Like, let's see if we can nail the shorts today. Yesterday, we nailed the longs. What did we have? What was the scenario? We had USDT dominance pushing into resistance. We had altcoins dropping onto corresponding support fibs, and we had Bitcoin just front running that weekly low support base. Okay, so we were in a position there yesterday where we were looking for a bit of longs, and that obviously explains why these things took off a little bit yesterday from those nice levels. Well, a lot in the end, but now we have an interesting scenario. So we're getting our USDT dominance rejection, and you can see the extreme move for me is still going to be like a one more euphoric pump. Okay, now I don't know if we're going to get it today, but a euphoric pump into 5.6 or 5.77, somewhere in that area. It's an extreme danger zone, guys. It's going to do dark things to you if we get a bounce on that level. So 577, look out for that area. That is going to be a monster danger zone. But again, great start that we have rejected at those highs. Okay, and shorts liquid, longs 50% TP. As long as you're cooking, guys, that's all we want to know. And then Bitcoin dominance, look at that. Okay, we are now in our outperform region, and this is what one of the charts I dropped in the Hackers Discord every day in my market update. And you can see right now This is the alts outperform zone, and you can see these alts are now outperforming, and we did get the rejection on BTC. Okay, so no buy pro. I am so bullish, guys. Remember, when the candles go like that, you tend to, like, you got to be self-aware. Remember how you're feeling when you get a red candle like that. You start feeling extra bearish, and that's normally the time you want to look for a bounce. When you're feeling euphoric, yeah, that is sometimes when you want to look for a rejection. So again, I just want to remind you guys, be super careful with longs now. If you are longing now, you are extremely longing the top. You're obviously putting yourself in a little bit of danger. And again, I might be completely wrong, and things could squeeze higher, and things could work out nicely. But all I can say from experience, be careful with these big green candles. Okay, so for our RSI heat map, look at this. It looks like fireworks basically have exploded here from the lows. Look at these chemtrails coming out of these things. I mean, this is an absolute thing of beauty here at the moment. And we can see a lot of these alts moving into neutral. What you want to see now is some of them pushing into the strong and overbought zone, and that will give you those final squeezes, and that might allow that USDT dominance to drop onto that nice big support level, and then maybe a TP zone incoming. Okay, so BTC short, so far so good. You can see the rejection, guys. You can see why this was an important level for us, and we are getting a little rejection. Again, doesn't guarantee that this is the move down. It might still push a little bit higher, but just be self-aware when you're watching these things. Then in terms of the 𝗏𝗍𝑠 heat map, I'm tracking the monthly because the weekly and the 7-day looking pretty dry at the moment. And you can see there's a ton of upside liquidity at the moment, sitting at about 97 into about 98K. Interesting possible target later on for BTC. Remember, that ties in quite nicely with these higher levels. Okay, so remember that later on when things start pushing up. Okay, now, are you guys ready for altcoins? Okay, are we ready for the greatest altcoin show in history? Okay, we got Jay in the house. He's brought his muscles. He's got setups. What shorts or what longs? What do you have? Which alts are you?
I have a gold long and I have an AVAX short so far, and I'll look for one chart for the community if they like.
Nice. Okay, so guys, you heard Jay. What you need to do is go into the chat, drop a couple of charts that you are interested in. Jay and James will select one of those things, and Jay will chart it for you guys and tell you what's going on. I must tell you, I'm super excited to short AVAX. Can't wait to see what Jay has got in store for us here. Okay, so let's talk ETH 2021, ETH 25, pretty much the same price, just slightly different build at the moment. And let's see what's going on. So guys, I spoke about having conviction on major levels yesterday, looking for longs on these big support zones, and 2750 has now held nicely for us on ETH, and all systems go. Right now, what we need to watch, look at this. Here's our 50-week moving average. That's 3090 for ETH that you need to pay attention to. And then in terms of the 3-day chart, obviously we got another monster level at 3450. So these are your big upside zones. Right now, ETH is simply in a range. You can see it's a super tight range over here, and you can see your range high is 3090 and your range low is, say, 2670. Okay, so you could easily just play around in this range, and if it starts breaking out, then we obviously start tracking the next move. But we could easily be in that range. Alternatively, we pop through, and then maybe we get a rejection over there, and then they drop us a little bit lower. Okay, so watch those big levels on the higher time frame. Now let's talk ETH. And yeah, short time for ETH. This is a rejection zone, 3000, looking a little bit dangerous here for ETH at the moment. I'm tracking the 1 hour time frame, and let's just see what that looks like. Also heavily overcooked at the moment. So this is just telling us, you know, if you've had a good run now on these alts, take a bit of profit, just cool down a little bit, because you might find, even if it stays super bullish, you might find a situation where they just drop it back a little bit and then maybe bounce it again. Okay, so just consider, you know, some of these options here. This thing might start rolling over, and if it does, again, your safest play generally, track your bull zone, and that is going to be your 382, your 0.5, and your VWAP. So let me just add that in here for you guys quickly. Let's just slot that guy in there. There's your 382. Let's take away that 618. Let's make it that 786, and then we're going to highlight that. Okay, so that is going to be your first reasonable zone right now, 2,900, and then we're going to do 2,870. So 29 to 2,870 at the moment looks like an area where this thing could pull back. Remember, absolute degens out there. Again, I don't do it often, but when things are turbo bullish, what you can use is your 236 degen fib. Can't guarantee much out of the 236. Sometimes you get a big move. So 2,950, if you're a filthy degen, that's your support level. and then you've got 2.9 into 2.870, and let's track this VWAP moving higher. We'll deal with it when it gets into that box. Now, remember, guys, all the charts you see here, they go into the Chart Hackers Discord for you directly after the show. And if you're in the Chart Hackers Discord, you get to benefit from a channel that I've got in there called When Entry. And after every show, what I do is I tee up a when entry of a high conviction trade. And yesterday it was ETH, okay? And the entry was instant, and we had a nice explosive move over there. So we've hit all 3 TPs on ETH. Obviously, it's far exceeded expectation. This thing has blown through a ton of levels, but a nice successful when entry trade. So if you're a very busy person and you're looking for somebody to handle some of the work for you, and you want to learn about trading, obviously come into the Hackers Discord. But a when entry is very simple. You're going to get 1 a day, possibly 4 or 5 a week in total, and you're going to get an entry, a stop loss, a take profit, and you're going to know what to do. We're going to explain it to you as well, so you'll know how to take those trades. Now, the Rob side says, don't miss the Sol train leaving now. I'm excited to look at Sol. Jay, don't go hiding, bro. Okay, so guys, ETH, you kind of get the picture here as to what is going on. Okay, so this 3,000 zone, this is a danger zone for us. If there is a pump on this lower time frame, if we're going to get more of a push here, just look at your upside zones. You've got 3,080 into 3,140. But right now, I'd be super cautious here. If you are trying to long the top here, you might be running out of a bit of ETH juice here at these types of levels. Okay, so just exercise caution there, please. And let's talk Solana now. This is Sol on the 3-day, and you can see it bounced off our 122, give or take, that level yesterday, and 3 days still holding well. So just like you saw with ETH, it held the big level. Again, doesn't mean that it necessarily can go all the way back to the highs, but it is a nice bounce that we've been able to take advantage of. So let's take a look here at Sol, and you can see very interesting setup. I mean, Jay, how often do we see this, bro?
Not often. I'm actually I'm taking screenshots, I'm taking memories, I'm taking selfies of this day. It's been quite a long time, guys. I think we all got PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, again, look, we've experienced so much disappointment in this market when you get a pump. You know, we've obviously now, we're very suspicious of every move. Okay, so what I can suggest to everybody, and especially if you guys are new watching the show, a simple strategy that you can employ if you are unsure. And what I like to do is I like to have multiple trades open if we catch a nice move. When you get your resistance, what do? You take profit on some, you can close them entirely. Others, you call them the Hail Mary play, and you grow the size and you try and get a really big position. And others, you open some head shorts at nice solid resistance zones that I'm going to give you on the show, and you can play in those areas. And then sometimes those shorts are going to start playing out for you, and if there's a continuation move, at least you've got some big size trades that start popping. So just an idea for you guys to consider when you push into those zones. But you can see why I'm a little bit nervous about Sol up in this area, the 140. It's a little bit concerning for me. So Sol on the 2 hour, let's take a look. That's obviously super overcooked at the moment, and we just need to be careful. So in terms of rejection zones for Sol, you can see 140 is a bit of a problem here for me at the moment, and I'm going to give you guys one more area here that you want to look out for. So if there is a second bite and a second push now today on Sol, your next danger zone is going to be 143 into 145. So you're going to exercise a bit of caution in that area over here. So if we do squeeze higher, look out for that move and then a possible rejection in that area. And once you eventually get your rejection, that is when you're going to start banging out your fibs. You're going to start looking for your bull zones. You're going to track your VWAPs from the lows, and at some point it should come back and tap the VWAP, and when it eventually settles down, and then you are going to get your next bullish continuation long, and if it fails, well, you start dropping back down. Okay, so keep it super simple here. At the moment, you can see DGen support 137, 134, and 132. These are your safest zones that you can play with here. Anybody that is busy trying to long the top, that is what you want to be looking at. Okay, so let's go. Oh, this was this breakout trade. Okay, so earlier in the Hackers Discord, we were saying to the guys, is it here? I was saying to the Hackers Discord, we gave this breakout trade earlier today. So we were looking at Sol, and normally when you get into these 15-minute scenarios and you're looking for a squeezy breakout, you tend to have about 3 options. Number one is you can short the breakout, and number 2 is you can buy the breakout, or number 3 is you can wait for a dip and then buy and start nibbling in a position. So I just gave the guys a little bit of a plan there. But Panda was in our WhatsApp group, flexing, showing like big size that he was trading. So we started getting into a bit of a competition there. And I said I went hard on the breakout here, Panda trying to take us both home in a stretcher if it fails. But thankfully it did work out nicely there for us in the end. So hackers, traders, hopefully between me and Panda, you got yourselves a big move. My God, that looks aggressive at the moment. Okay, so yeah, guys, no fresh longs at the moment. I can only give you a couple of rejection zones that you want to pay attention to. And then obviously the big dog, well, the new big dog, Jay's old favorite coin. When last did you touch this thing, bro?
I did short it the other day from the win entry, and then I haven't really longed it. Actually, I suppose we should get into some longs. I see the meme coins are like, we back. Brett, Pengu. So I'm pretty excited. I really like it when meme coins come back. And funny enough, I just sent James something about on High Block Capital. Today's volume was over 200 billion, higher than 2021 all-time high.
Really? That's really impressive. Okay, so there's
really impressive. There's real money in the market. There's proper volume. Real money.
Okay, so guys, anyone trading Fartcoin? I actually jumped into a breakout scalp earlier today. Nothing serious, and then it started becoming something. I just want to give you guys a couple of levels that you can play with. So 43, number one. This is a macro rejection zone. You want to kind of just be careful up here. So I think Fartcoin can churn a little bit, but 43, that is probably a reasonable exit zone. And then 51, guys, if you're looking for shorts, you're looking for a play here, 43, 51, that looks like reasonable areas there for me at the moment on Fartcoin. So the higher band here is a 61800-day MA. You can see the confluence up in that zone. And then this area is your horizontal. You've got a bit of an undercarriage here and a macro 382 at this 43 level. So just be careful at those zones. I'm going to be exiting Fartcoin. If we pump into this 42, 43, I am done. And then we'll let it play out. You can see if it does push higher, we are simply going to print bearish divergence on the 12-hour and then maybe a little bit more downside there later on for Fartcoin. Okay, so just watch those levels to the upside. Keep it pretty simple there. And then I want to cover hype for you guys. And Tobias says, some hopium for you. Hype underperformance usually doesn't last long. Okay, and I mean, the reason being is hype's like they're doing the buybacks. They got so many traders on their platform. They're making tons of money, and they're actually one of the few crypto tokens out there with actually some fundamentals. They actually have a value attached to them. So hype is always a fun trade for me. Now, it's a bit of a tricky one here because I am in my hype short zone that I liked early on today. So I'm sitting in this one at the moment. You can see there's a nice rejection wick. Let's see if this is the one that's going to send us down. But right now, I just wanted to give you guys a couple of danger zones on hype. Now, we caught a couple of really nice moves yesterday. Let's not give them all away. So right now, in terms of hype, you can see we got a bit of a rejection candle. And I want to give you guys a continuation play here. I want to give you a fresh long on hype that you can work with if there is a short-term dip now in the market. So what you want to look for here, the most obvious zone for me right now for hype is going to be this 31.39 or 31.4. So you can look at that as a possible option here. Let's just add the long tool so you can see what this looks like. And this looks like, to me, the most reasonable play here. If you want to be safe, that is kind of where you want this thing to come down. And then maybe that is going to be the move that sends you a little bit higher. So just exercise caution once again. 31.4, guys, that looks like the reasonable area there for me on hype. And then if we do start squeezing a touch higher and things start pushing a little bit more, what do you want to pay attention to? You can see your most obvious rejection zones. Again, anybody that wants to look for shorts, you kind of want to look at these obvious areas here. The next big one is 35.1 that you're going to be watching. And then the highs, you can see the highs at 36.9. Okay, so these are your big TP zones. These are your big potential reversal zones. These are your short zones that you want to pay attention to. I'll make sure this chart is in the Chart Hackers Discord for you guys directly after the show. Okay, now it is J time. I want to short AVAX. I'm super excited. I'm keen to hear about some gold and things like
a Pendle trade for them as well.
Okay,
so first of all, I got gold over here, guys. So there was a setup given already. So this is the bounce setup that's happening currently right now in Chart Hackers. And we did this trade this morning, 300 points. We did it in the afternoon, 300 points. We shorted it all down. Like literally today has been up, down, up, down. It's been like an absolute mayhem. Today, 0 losses on gold today. 4 gold trades. It's been absolutely disgusting. Entry, exit, like it was just so good, guys. And then yesterday as well, a really good trade. But in terms of gold, I would really love this series on gold to come, which is the 886. It's like the max extension. So I know that you always speak about that 786, but in gold, it's just like a different animal of pain that they love to give people, especially because they know how over leveraged degens that we trade. Like they traded on 500, on 1000x leverage. Some exchanges even give you 2000x leverage for gold. So it's like literally nuts. So if gold moves $1, it's like full lickies. So they really love to punish the gold trader. So I'm looking for, those wicks that we got the other day, with the CME shutdown. So I'm looking for them to come back into the zone and hit this beautiful pivot zone on gold. And this has always had a great reaction off here every single time. And when this coincides with an order block and max extension fib, that 886, guys, we get a really, really good reaction off it. And we'll actually be trading gold live tomorrow night in New York. So make sure that you guys are there. It's really nice. We had some great wins on Monday as well. So the entry, guys, for gold will be 4150, and it is always around a $10 stop. If your stop is larger than $10 on gold in a scalp, then your trade idea is kind of wrong. You're invalidated, as DJ Dave always says. Or another word is you're full lickies if you're more than $10. You probably got it wrong. So that's the gold idea, guys, and then trading back into that 0.5 fib market structure shift to the upside. Okay, guys, so that is the gold trade. Then we have a great AVAX trade over here. AVAX, I'm not too sure if it's even going to do anything, even with this huge pump. It's only moved around 5 or 6% today. So it's generally one of the first things that I look for in terms of a short. So it's coming into macro 0.5 fib, and this is lining up beautiful with that 786 on a local fib. So we have got the anchored VWAP from the high and POC with a wonderful undercarriage sitting here, guys, on AVAX. So I'm looking for them to come back into the zone, which they have done now, which is the monthly open. But if BTC decides to just, shit that ceiling one more time, later on towards Asia, taking out that previous week high, I think it was around 93, somewhere around there, they can just squeeze us a little bit more. I would definitely be adding to my position here on AVAX, guys. So this is the 786. It lines up divinely with the POC. So when this happens and you get these two confluences together with that anchored VWAP, it's just a triple threat. It's a real hacker combo here, guys. And I'll be teaching this method in tomorrow's Back to Basics using the Hot Zone Essentials indicator, a scalping strategy that we've developed for you guys. So, as prices I've given this to the chart hackers now. So this is the first short zone. And then if they do press up here into the 786 and POC, guys, I will be adding and then watch the waterfalls happen. So entry you can do is one limit now, guys, and then the next one I'll be putting on that 786, which will be 13.9. But let's always identify the risk when we take these trades. I do not want it to go over the 618. So the stop loss will only be around 2.7. So this is one of the reasons why I do like to short AVAX. So you can get into a really big size trade with minimal risk to the upside or to the downside.
So I want you to give me that that entry again.
Okay.
Because I want to actually take this trade.
Perfect. So the 786, guys, it's 13.9. Just keep it a nice simple round number. You don't have to get it exactly to the dollar always, because every exchange is a little bit different. So 13.9, it lines up exactly with POC. And we have a beautiful undercarriage here as well. So, in the chart hackers, we call this the Romeo and Juliet. So I want them to come back to kiss those wicks and then dump it to the downside on AVAX.
I'm going to plug this in now. So it's 13 point.
13.9. 13.9.
I actually like
that.
It gives us one more squeeze.
It does give us one more squeeze, yeah. So, everyone's getting short now. They see the red candle, the 15-minute candle, especially the bulls, right? So they're like, oh, you see, this is the time, guys. Now we short, now we right. After they've got stop. And I think they're going to just pressure them just one more time, guys. Yeah. So that will give us and it's only to the upside around 2.5%. And I really think they will press this area, fill this imbalance vector candle here, come to that undercarriage, POC 786. And the macro 0.5. So when those two line up, it's just a chef's kiss It's a really good confluence zone.
Okay, so I'm going to take this one on 𝗶𝗏𝗏. Well, I'm not going to take it. I'm setting 13.9 on 𝗶𝗏𝗏 here. Let me show you guys what is cooking at the moment here. So I'm going to take this one on 𝗶𝗏𝗏, and I've got 13.9 as a limit sell. And right now it's a cross account. So if this account starts moving, then at least we can use the profits to start opening new positions. Okay, so there's my sell order there waiting here on 𝗶𝗏𝗏. We are ready to go. And let's see if we push up into that zone, we're going to catch that guy and send it to hell, basically. Okay, so Trader J making me rethink my AVAX long. Look, I love the scenario, Jay, that you're talking about here. One more pop up just to flush the early shorts and then come and drop it down. So I like that idea a lot. Okay, let's go. Let me cover. Guys, we got more coming, and Jay's going to do one of your community tokens as well. I just want you to know what's coming here. We've got Pump, I've got Asta, I've got Aero. I took a scalp long on Aero. Is it time to short or at least close? I've got Virtual for you guys. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, Zcash if we have time. Okay, so we're gonna get into these things now, and let's see what we can cover. So here is some Pump. And I mean, this was also a banger yesterday. I gave this to the Chart Hackers Discord yesterday. I told them I was going long Pump at these lows. And now we need to be careful. Look at this. We've moved into our short zone here. And this was our possible rejection area. So you can see we've got a rejection candle on Pump at the moment. Let's just adjust our bull zone. And if this is the rejection, okay, so there's two scenarios I want you guys to actually pay attention to here. So just bear with me for a second. There's sort of scenario number one is it rejects now and it starts dropping. Okay, so scenario number one, we get the reversal, and then you're looking for a long anywhere between 29 and 284. You're looking for that bounce. 29 and 284 on Pump if it rejects now. Now, you heard what Jay was talking about, an STC. What is an STC? A shit the ceiling. Okay, shit the ceiling is essentially your bearish divergence print or something along those lines. And you can see Pump is looking a little bit overcooked, but there's a possibility of one more squeeze. Now, there are two areas for your bearish divergence print where you can nail a short on Pump. Okay, zone number one, 3206. That's a high conviction zone, 3206. And then you've got that wick fill at the highs, and that is at 337. Okay, so these are two very interesting short zones for Pump. What you want to watch is your oscillator. Let's see if that oscillator is going to give us divergence, and these are going to be your next play. So if we get a squeeze tonight, 32, and you're looking at 337, those are your possible short opportunities there on Pump, and it could be a nice one. Pump dumps nicely. Pump also pumps nicely, as you can see, and they do give you some good moves in the market. Okay, so there's your Pump play, and that guy wants to know what we're seeing on Link. Have we decided what token you want to chart yet, Jay?
So I'm doing Pendle, and I'm actually just charting Link as we speak. So if you give me around maybe 2-3 minutes, I'll be able to
Okay, so guys, Pendle and Link on its way. And is it time to close Aero? I took a little breakout scalp earlier today. Let me show you the chart. Let's take a look and we can decide together. Okay, there you go. There's a basic, simple trend rejection here on Aero at the moment. And, you know, this could be the move that gives you a bullish continuation. It could be the move that sends you to new lows. Or, you know, we might just get something along those lines on Aero at the moment. So for me, for this little scalp breakout play, I can see I'm struggling at rejection here. I mean, at resistance. So I'm just going to close this one now on WEX. And this is one of my favorite degen exchanges because they give me 400x on Solana and Bitcoin and stuff like that. So you can do some super dumb shit there. And okay, so Aero, I've closed. You can see why this was just a scalp. We are now at resistance. Okay, so Aero traders, you are at resistance. If this thing does start dumping, you've got a possible long coming at 62. It's a degen scalp play that you're going to look at. So it's not a massive high conviction play, but there's a possible long there at 62 in that type of region. Okay, so look for that bounce there. If this thing pumps a little bit higher, I would say pay attention. You've got quite a big short zone floating around at 73. Okay, so your short zone is going to be at 73 for you guys if this thing starts squeezing a little bit higher. Okay, so look out for that coming into play later on, and that could be a move that drops Aero quite nicely down. Okay, and yeah, so Mumo says waiting for pump at a higher level. I agree. You might get that squeeze up, and then that's going to be your higher conviction play. Why is Giovanni laughing at us, bro? What's he doing? Why is he giggling at us? What's going on here? Guys, let's talk virtual. Look, a simple one. bounced off the big level yesterday, and now it's picked up a little bit of momentum today. So I'm not going to go too deep into it at the moment. This is the daily chart on virtual. So anybody that did take this long, you can see on the daily chart, irrespective of a little bit of chop along the way, there is a possibility, we might just chop up down on the lower time frame, but there's a possibility that virtual pushes you into 1.06 into 1.1 before you get that big rejection. Okay, so virtual traders, if you are in a high conviction long here and you're looking for higher, 106 into 110 looks like a really nice area there for us to get some kind of rejection on virtual. Okay, so let this thing play out a little bit. I am sitting in that virtual scalp. Let's see how we go. 106 is a big trouble zone there for me on virtual. And then 𝗏, guys, I've been talking about 𝗏 for so long, and I missed it. Yeah, I'm sad because this might be the halving. Pump.
Maybe this is the bump you've been looking for like, how has it been, 2 weeks now?
True. No, I'm sad. Okay, but it's too late to enter now. For me, it's too late. But you can see we dropped into that zone, and we're getting a bounce on 𝗏. Remember, there's a halving coming. It could be bullish. It could be something here for you guys. So hopefully, if you guys got it, your big support is going to be 250. You can use that 247. That's your main support on 𝗏. If it runs, guys, your target 368 is your target there. Okay, so be safe on 𝗏. 368. That looks like big trouble. And 𝗬𝗰, guys. I mean, this thing. So we had the unlock on 𝗬𝗰. Everyone was super bearish. 3%, James. It was 3% of supply, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's now done, okay? And now what happens with the unlock? Generally, you pump into the unlocks, and then it rips, okay? I mean, you dump into the unlock, and now it's ripping again. So, yeah, 𝗬𝗰 moving into a danger zone, guys. Like, again, I don't want to say short everything you see, but in terms of what we're looking at here, we're moving into a macro rejection zone. So if you are feeling like it, okay, like we are in the area, this VWAP here is quite a serious VWAP at the moment, okay? So 1.6, this is a problem zone. If they do push you a little bit higher, you might catch something at 1.65, which is going to be the next one. So just be careful with sizing in those types of areas. Obviously, the squeeze could be brutal, obviously. But in terms of what I'm looking at here, 1.6 to 1.66 could be your rejection zone. And I cannot give you longs here. I literally cannot give you longs after a pump like that. We need to see structure. So if you've missed longs, if you're longing this stuff, yeah, you might get lucky, okay? But I cannot sit here and give you guys longs. What you need, some kind of structure, something to play with, and then we can work tomorrow, okay? So we'll do the work tomorrow. We'll make sure that we have structure, and then we can start planning our way around that. So remember, red days, we look for the setups. Then the pump days, we enjoy the moments. We take profit, we short, and we play a couple of breakouts, and we have a bit of a laugh, okay? So 𝗬𝗰, be patient. You've got your danger zones there to the upside. Guys, Brett, I think you're going to get a short on Brett later on today. 212 into 225. 212 into 25. This looks like a reasonable zone. And at the very least, okay, if you don't want to short a ripping altcoin, at the very least, that is a take profit zone for you. You've got a VWAP from the highs on, what are we looking at? The highs on the 27th of October. You've got a 382 pull from that zone. You've got the 50-day MA. I'm telling you, this is a danger zone. There's an undercarriage here as well. That's going to be a problem. Look at that. Okay, that's an issue for me. So 212 into 226 at the very least. Take a little bit of profit there on Brett. If you're brave enough, that's where you're going to look for some kind of short. Okay, so Brett makes sense. I mean, Jay, lots of confluence here. What do you think happens to these memes? Do they blow through?
Yeah, I mean, this is a 30% move today, guys, on most of these memes. I mean, Brett, I think did 30% today, 28%. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Brett does pump the hardest, but it also drops in a 5-6% candle on a 5 minute. So when you're logging in the top on 20x, it's not very fun. It's super stressful, guys. But
okay.
I've been there, got the t-shirts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all I can say is, like, you don't want to long this, okay? Like, if you do, you're getting lucky, but you literally are, like, you gambling of the highest order, okay, if you want to long that shit. For me, that is a short over there that you want to play at. Zcash, guys, I'm still waiting for 300. Chaos wanted a bit higher yesterday, and I think I got his entry. He got his entry, 320, whatever he was looking at. He was looking a touch higher than me. You guys know my obsession with the big fibs and the big levels, and for me, it was 300. Okay, so we've got the bounce. We might still see this thing at 300. It might still come down to the 300 zone. I'm just waiting. Okay, let's let it play out. And then I've got a doozy for you guys. In fact, let's give Jay, let Jay do what do you got? Link and Pendle. What did you have?
Yeah, I've got Pendle. I've got a really nice short and Pendle high confluence short coming. The only thing on these 4 hours, they're still looking pretty juicy. A lot of these altcoins,
I know.
Whoa, I'm getting a bit of FOMO here myself. Sitting here looking charting that thing. I just want let's end the stream, Dylan. Let's end the stream so we can long shit off the stream.
Link had an ETF go live today too. So a lot of people have been asking for it, but I haven't seen the chart. But that may have something to do with
it's kind of at resistance now.
Is
it hasn't taken the previous week.
Or when Jay is done, we're going to pull up Jay's chart now. But guys, I've got an XRP short for you guys. It's going to make James so pleased. And I'm shorting it to -0, where they're going to phone me and give me money.
Nice.
Okay, like that is what's going to happen. Okay, so
we actually did get that XRP long. Remember the one I did on your show? I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago. We actually got that long. It hit perfectly on that 6.
Not allowed.
But we can short it. We can short it.
Let's see Link. Yeah, I mean, Jay, you can see straight away.
Guys, I mean, in terms of Link here, I know that everyone's super bullish on it. And yes, the daily candle, this looks fantastic. Like, I love that they came up. They came back for a retest, kind of a double bottom, higher low, 786. And now the daily candle is engulfing. For me, this does look like a reversal sign. But in terms of this daily candle, because it is engulfing, I must wait for the retest to long this. There's no ways I can long this top of this candle. Yes, it does look bullish and there is some resistance higher up. But for me, I would look for a 0.5 fib or, your local 382. And then I would long it continuously to the upper side. On Link, it does look bullish on the daily time frame. And that 4-hour oscillator on our chart prime indicators, guys, is just started. Right? It looks dirty. So I might be pulling a long trade for our chart hackers. I'll drop it maybe in around 10-20 minutes for the chart hackers, the long trade. But the short trade for the YouTube guys is a little bit higher, guys. So what we're looking for here on Link is this previous week high. So they can definitely sweep this and then come back to the POC. The POC is 13.17. If you guys are feeling super degen, maybe that could be the opportunities to trade it higher. But personally, I would not take this right now. I would definitely either wait for the higher to short it or wait for that local pullback, to our 0.5 fib, fill 50% of this engulfing candle and then long it towards the top. Why I like this Link short is because it's so typical. It's such a retail pattern, how this trend line is sitting here on the daily time frame. Everyone's going to say, Link is breaking out, Link is breaking out. And then, surprise, mother father. I love it when they just short these trend lines. It pops out and then hits that anchored VWAP, guys. I just love an anchored VWAP with an undercarriage, and they line up exactly on a 0.5 fib. This is a typical market structure shift towards the downside. I know everyone is very excited, but prices move down, price moves up, and then don't be surprised if they give you one more time a little bit of rinsage to the downside. So the short guys on Link, if you are interested, will be at 14.2, hitting that anchor VWAP into that 0.5 fib, guys. Beautiful undercarriage here, a lot of confluence, trapping those retail traders up. And then you can take the long from the retest, right? If you really do and you are bullish on Link, I actually haven't traded Link for such a long time. I actually looked at it the first time when you mentioned Link had that double daily divergence. I think it was the print. You put it into your long-term trades. I think it was the other day, Dylan.
Double 3-day bullish divergence. I mean, you don't see that often. In fact, it's never existed.
It's never existed. Yeah. So definitely be looking for the retest here, guys, on that trend, and then the continuation back up. And then this will be our 50-day, right? So that will be the big, test for Link, because here is the engulfing candle to the downside where the bears started the move. So this is your fair value gap, and price generally comes back to these fair value gaps, lining up with the 50-day, really high confluence short zone. So make sure that is on your radar, guys. 15.42 definitely is a great zone for Link. But I'm loving this little trap trade here, and then the long towards higher. But I'll be dropping this in the Jay and Panda section for you guys in Chart Hackers. And then the other one I have is Pendle, the boss's favorite dark horse.
Sometimes I miss it. And like, I mean, yeah, I wanted it at 1.8. I was waiting. And I never got that 1.8. Never gave it to you see it front ran there a little bit.
Yeah, dude, I see. Yeah, that was that pivot zone. That's a huge pivot zone. Wow. If it got that pivot zone at the bottom, 1.86, that would have been juicy. Yeah, so looking at this, guys, we have the look, this SMA over here. This is the 50 on the daily, lining up with the anchored VWAP from the high of that 1010, right, where we had that fake bounce up. That's our anchored VWAP from there. We have a trend line coming down, and we have the previous week high lining up with an 886 and demand and supply zone here on Pendle. So the short trade, guys, will be at 2.82. So what I want them to do is have that same fake out as I spoke about on Link, coming out of the trend line, trapping the retail traders, hitting our bearish order block, our supply zone, as well as that 50-day SMA with the anchored VWAP. And even if they really wanted to press price super high, is take that previous week high, sweep the liquidity, and then close back under. And this is what we call a shooting star candle that we'll be looking for, with that big wick towards the upside, guys. And you'll see on that 1 hour candle, it will close under the previous week high. And then we'll get a divine short towards the downside. And then we can really look for the longs. I'm waiting for the bullish retest on a lot of these tokens. So where is the market structure shift from the upside? And then how can we get that long for us to go higher? But at the moment, we just see this huge green candle. Unfortunately, that's not structure for me.
Yeah, we got to wait, guys. So like if you watch the show yesterday and you watch the show consistently, you're going to get entries. Okay, every day you might not get an exact trade every single day, but you're going to get setups, you're going to get entries every day. But you need to watch the show when the market is red. Okay, like if you're coming when the market's exploding like this, we're going to start telling you short zones, and we're going to say, let's look for our bull zones that we're going to operate in. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have some structure. At some point, these alts are going to reject a little bit. They're going to chop around. So come tomorrow, make sure you're watching the show, because tomorrow I'm going to have some structure shifts for you guys, and we're going to have some proper setups brewing for you. Okay, so we can reset that stuff. So you've got your short zones that you're working with now, and I'm going to give you XRP where they're going to literally contact me and send me money, like, because we're going to send it so low. Look at this. We're sending it to negative 0.4. Okay, at the minimum.
Chat's ready. The chat's ready. Everyone's ready for the short.
Okay, so guys, there's two trains of thought here. Obviously, the market is looking super bullish. So we might find ourselves in a situation where we pump into resistance zones, we get short-term pullbacks, and then we get nice big pumps. Okay, so short pullbacks, big pumps. If this move continues on XRP, let's say into the 10th of December, when is our next FOMC? James, when is that? Is it this 10th of December, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking for, there's a possibility that XRP pumps another 25%. Okay, that is on the table. So in terms of a short zone that I am in love with, okay, look what I've got here for you guys. Just all you need to do is put your alarms on, maybe set a couple of stink bids in the area, a couple of sneaky sell orders. That is something of interest to me. 2.6 into 2.75. You're going to feel euphoric, okay? You're going to be telling your wife XRP is the new money, okay? The world is changing, okay? 2.75, that is what you're going to look for a short. 200-day MA, 100-day MA, 786, undercarriage, trend. That for me is a high conviction rejection zone. Now, if you want to do some short-term dumb shit with me, there's a couple of options that I have for you guys, okay? And, just understand that, the higher conviction zones are obviously a little bit bigger now in terms of some of these oscillators. But in terms of XRP right now, what I'm looking at here is two options that make sense to me. Okay, number one is the easy trade. Okay, I don't know if they'll make it easy. I think they'll squeeze this thing up a little bit more. So the easy trade is a push into 2.18. So you're looking at something along these lines, so a little pump up here, and then that rejection. Okay, so 2.16 into 2.18. Okay, and bans for everyone. What does that? What does that thing? What does that? Bans for everyone. Fucking love hackers ban. Okay, so the next thing is a pump later on today. Let's say we squeeze a little bit more. What do I love? I love the highs that you can see at 2.27. I love that VWAP. I love the 50-day MA, and I love the fact that it's only 3% risk to maybe send XRP to absolute zero, to negative money. Okay, so that is kind of what I'm looking for now on the short term. These are your two degen short zones if you want to play them. Until then, if you're looking for longs, guys, all I can say is pitch up tomorrow. We're gonna have a plan. We're gonna have the bull zones ready for you, and you're gonna have full on structure. Obviously, Chart Hackers Discord members, you guys are gonna be very nicely covered. And a reminder, anybody that's joined Chart Hackers today, we've got a welcome event, or Chart Hackers this week. We've got a welcome event now in the next half an hour where we're going to welcome all the new members. We're going to just explain what's going on in the Discord, and you're going to meet some of the team and just get a feel for how things operate in the Discord, because it's quite a big thing. We've got 8 to 10 traders in there at the moment, everyone for different tastes. We've got scalpers, we've got swing traders, we got gold, we trade all things. Okay, so come to the welcome event. If you want to join Hackers, go to the link in the show description. Come sign up now. Come to the welcome event, and you'll see me maybe a little bit calmer. Okay, and we'll be talking about those things. Okay, you got the play. Jay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Very nice.
James, thank you, sir.
Good luck, everyone.
I'm going to leave them with this.
Hi. Don't want to. Bye.